Hello everyone, and welcome to my second man video that I ever made basically. I got some new questions, and I figured I could answer them again in a video because the first one got a pretty positive response, and I thought it would be fun to do it again. And if I sound a bit bad or start coughing, it's because I have this throat thing going on. I'll try to edit this video in the sense of there's gonna be some subtitles and stuff, because I will say some things in Dutch and try to say things in Flemish, which is basically Dutch with some other words and the accent. And I'm terrible at it, but I really want to show you guys how Milan sounds when he speaks Flemish. And I really want to do that, so bear with me, I beg you, because I'm gonna try it. Okay, so we're gonna answer a few questions right now, and I hope it's satisfactory. Okay, let's see. How did Milan meet Sarah, and how long were they together before she died? Well, Milan met Sarah during a leave of absence from the army. He wandered around for a couple of months. Basically, he was on a holiday, and he met her in Hawaii. Yeah, he met her there, and she was on holiday as well. And they met, and they got talking, and the whole thing. And they were together for about, I'd say, 8 years before they finally got married. Because Milan at that time was really closed off. He didn't talk to a lot of people, and basically the army was his life. And you have to keep in mind that this is like 40 years ago when he met her, or 38, something like that. And so that would make Milan somewhere in his 50s. And he looked more like Taylor Lautner, his younger face claim, than Josh Duhamel, his older face claim. So he's this young guy, seemingly, who met this young woman, and they got talking and everything else. And they were together for 8 years, and then they got married, and then the whole shit happened with the baby and Sarah dying, and it's left a big of a mark on him. But to answer the question, he met her on Hawaii, and they were together for 8 years. What were the differences and similarities to when Milan found out he was going to be a father with Sarah's child versus Aspen's? Okay, now this is actually a really good question. I actually laugh about this every single time I see it. But the first time Milan found out he was going to be a father, he was scared shitless. I mean, he really was so scared, and he actually had his first child tested prenatally to see if it would carry the X gene, because he was so scared he was going to pass on his course. And I think that with Aspen this is also concerned, but less so, because he knows that his first child was a human instead of a mutant, because he had that tested. And so he knows that the odds of his second child becoming a mutant are more slim than he originally thought, because his girlfriends and wives are all humans so far. I think that's a similarity, and I think the big difference between the first time and the second time of becoming a father is the fact that the first time he was just mostly scared and he didn't know what to do, and the second time was a whole lot happier. I think it's also a matter of difference between women. I mean, Aspen is so much different from Sarah. Sarah was more masculine, in the sense of she dared anything and she went for anything. And Aspen, I think, she's really brave, to get that straight. I think Aspen is actually a really brave woman, but she's just more feminine, and she looks at things from different directions. And I think that's the biggest change for Milan. It's so annoying because I know his name in Dutch, and I'm literally translating it to English for you guys, because I'm translating everything I do right now into English, and it's so annoying because it gives you my own character's name wrong, and it's okay. But anyway, I think the biggest difference is that the second time around he's a lot more relaxed. He knows what's gonna happen mostly, and he knows what he's gonna what he's gonna expect. And I think the similarities is that he's still afraid. And that in a sense he just doesn't know what's gonna happen. It's just strange because he does. He knows how it's gonna develop and stuff and how things are going, but he doesn't know what a birth is like. He's never seen that. Not a real one. He saw a C-section, a really bloody one. And his child died 15 minutes after that, so he doesn't really know what it's like to sit next to someone. And I think, that's a similarity. And yeah, that sounds really strange, but yeah, I think it's something like that. I actually thought this was a really, really hard question because I hadn't even thought about that yet. So this was awesome. Yeah, that was really fun. Which does Milan prefer, military or shield, and why? Oh boy, he prefers shield. At least for now, because he hasn't found out yet that Shield's keeping secrets from him, and the military kept secrets like, it was their job description. He doesn't like the military. He hates the US Army for it. They basically kept him locked up as much as they could for 70 years of his life. Do you know what that's like? He didn't like it. I mean, he fought in the Second World War in the Pacific Division, despite the fact that the army originally wanted to put him in Normandy. But he didn't want to go to Normandy, so he had to beg his way through getting into the Pacific. And once he was there, he was like, what the hell am I doing here? It could have been in Normandy by now. And then he went to Hiroshima in 1945, and he survived the atomic bomb and everything. And then the army got a real interest in him. That's when they said, okay, we need this guy. And they pulled him in, and he got pulled into NEST, which is this really secret division which deals with counterterrorism, counterintelligence, and counter-mutant problems. Whenever there's a mutant run amok and he's trying to be a terrorist or whatever, or females can be terrorists too. Never underestimate that. So that's when Ness got called in. That's when they called him in. And part of Milan actually hates that. He really doesn't like the military, and he prefers Shield. Oh, the Shield's keeping secrets from him, like pros as well. But he has no idea of it. And I think that's basically why he likes Shield better than the military, just because he hasn't found out yet that they're keeping secrets. And the biggest secret they're keeping is that they know he's a mutant. And they know his dormant mutations. They know he's a pharaoh. And they know who his real father is, his biological father and his biological family, but they're not telling him because they're expecting Milan to have evolved so far from his pharaoh mutation that he can handle it without a problem. But the truth is, as was shown in the Galoyan rescue mission, that he isn't. That his pharaoh side is very, very active at times, and that really he has no idea how to control it, and he has to be learned. The question is, who's gonna teach him this? Because there's basically no one aside from Wolverine or Gerald Willis or perhaps even Jadia Thomas who can teach him this, and it's not known. And that's actually kind of scary. And I've actually had a comment from someone saying he shouldn't be cleared for field work, and no, he shouldn't. It's gotten that bad. And I'm probably rattling on about these questions, but this is actually going to be really important information later on. So if you're a regular visitor of Milan's blog, you're going to see these things, and you're going to want to know these things. So that's why I'm telling you all of this. But to answer the question really short, Milan prefers S.H.I.E.L.D. because in his mind they're the most honest people he knows. And he actually made friends among S.H.I.E.L.D. members. I mean, there's Jennifer, J.J. Kelly, there's Bryce Drummond, Seth Riley, Kip Worden. I hope I said that right, Kith. I think his name is Kith. Not Keith, but Kith. At least that's how it sounds in my mind, anyway. Let's see who else here has his friend. Well, there's a few friends outside of S.H.I.E.L.D., but yeah, that's why he prefers S.H.I.E.L.D., because one, he actually made friends. Two, he thinks they're not keeping secrets from him. And three, he finally feels like he belongs somewhere. And that's why he prefers S.H.I.E.L.D. over the military. Okay, now I have some questions from one of my favorite RP partners ever, and that's Aspen of Stark, who plays Aspen Riley, and Aspen Riley is Milan's girlfriend, as we all know by now. And she asked me some questions, and I'm gonna try to answer them, because this is really cool. Milan's best and worst memory. Well, I'd say his best memory would be, this is tough. He doesn't really have best memories in the sense of he has really good ones. I think his best memory was either the day when he married Sarah or the day when he marries Aspen. One of these two. But so far it would have to be when he married Sarah and when he met Aspen. Basically, when he saw that girl and saw her walking by, and that's a really good memory to him. His worst memory, oh man, there's so many. I think his absolute worst of the worst is the time when the Germans came to Belgium, all under the radar. I mean, this wasn't well known, and they came to his village in Eupen, and they pulled out all the village boys out of the row and out of the line, sorry. They pulled them forward and they had them all sit on their knees, and they started calling out names of people they wanted to see. And every time someone whose name was called didn't step forward, they shot someone. And Milan saw his best friend being shot right in front of his eyes. And I think that's one of his worst moments he ever had. I mean, that had to be absolutely terrible. And I think another really bad memory for him was Little Boy and Hiroshima, because he survived that bomb. Basically in Ground Zero, so it's really close to where the bomb fell. And, you know, everything around him got destroyed, and he was the only one that survived. And his memories remained intact because his head was stuck under a lead plate. So basically his head turned out relatively okay, and brain cells survived, which allowed him to heal completely. And he recovered from that, and he survived that, while everything around him, you know, basically died. And that's another really hard memory for him. I can't really say which one is worse, to be honest. I don't even sorry, I don't even know which one could be worse in this case, because I think they're both awful. And yeah, then there's Sarah, who got killed by some kid on heroin and stabbed and then pushed down a flight of stairs, and he lost 2 people that day. He lost both Sarah, his wife at the time, and his son Caleb. And yeah, I think that's almost as worse, if not, you know, right up there with the other 2. I think those are his 3 worst memories that he has. He doesn't have best memories, but he has a lot of worst memories. And I think that those are basically his worst memories. What was Milan's most embarrassing moment ever? Oh boy. I'd say this is a memory when he was in the army and they had been fighting hard and everything, and he had to go do a number 2. But obviously they were in the middle of battle and they couldn't go, and he was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go there. And he pulled out his pants, and in came a couple of Japanese guys, and there was fire and everything and chaos. And in all that chaos, he basically shit his own pants. And I think that's one of his most embarrassing memories ever. Because I don't think he makes a lot of mistakes like that. Unless you count all the attempts he did at sweet talking women at a bar, because he's extremely bad at it. He's extremely bad at it, and he really doesn't know what he's doing. And he just keeps trying and trying and trying, and he just keeps failing too. And everybody just always laughs at him. He's the goofy guy. He's seriously someone who doesn't know what he's doing. And I think that in itself is also a bad memory. It's also an embarrassing memory. Excuse me. I keep coughing, and I'm really sorry, but I can't help that. Really, I'm sorry. Let's see. Most expensive thing Milan ever purchased. Oh, I don't think he actually. He's the kind of guy that prefers Walmart and Target and thrift stores, and he goes everywhere so he can save money. And I think the most expensive thing he ever bought was his penthouse apartment. I think that's the most expensive thing he ever bought was his house. But if you really, want to know about clothing or something, I think it's his suits. Because his suits for S.H.I.E.L.D. are the only thing he splurges on. Everything else, like his socks, his underwear, anything he can find, he'll buy it as cheap as possible, except for his suits. He has $200 suits in his closet simply because he wants to look good for his job, and he has to. He has to look good for it. So that's what he splurges on. But other than that, nah, he's a bit of a cheapskate. Sorry, Aspen, he is. He really is a cheapskate. Oh, I'm waiting for bonus question. Now this'll be fun. What made Milan realize that after 75 years, Aspen was the one he wanted? I think this is something that happened gradually. Like, he didn't know it at first, but it's just something that grew on him. You see someone and you immediately think like, wow, that's the kind of guy or girl that I want. And I think Milan had that with Aspen. I think, he was so impressed with her when he first met her that he immediately had something like, wow, I'm gonna try to get her. Even if I can, I gotta try this because she's awesome. And I just have to see if this is gonna work out. And I think the real moment when he figured out that, this is the kind of girl for him was when she accepted and saw his invitation for the first time. The gunfire threat is actually the moment when he started realizing, like, she's not running. I mean, even Sarah didn't know about his mutation. She didn't. He never told her. And Aspen is the first person, the first woman who knows he's a mutant and isn't running. And I think that's really important to him, and that's what made him realize, I'm gonna marry this woman. She's the one. And he's not gonna let her go. He's gonna stay with this one till the day she dies, or the day he dies. Whichever comes first. And yeah, I think that was the moment. And now I have to do this thing that I promised, in which I'm gonna attempt to at least speak Dutch to you, which I can, by the way, because I am Dutch. But I'm gonna attempt to speak Flemish, which basically is Dutch with a type of accent. So bear with me, I'm gonna try it. Maar goed, ik heb nou eenmaal beloofd dat ik Nederlands laten horen zoals ik nou doe. En maak je geen zorgen, er komen subtitels. Ondertiteling komt er. In ieder geval in dit stuk. Ik ga jullie zo meteen laten horen hoe Milan dus eigenlijk klinkt. Nou hoor je het al een beetje, maar de Belgen hebben hun eigen accent. En ja, je weet maar nooit hoe dat uit gaat pakken. Want ja, allee zeg, ik bedoel, dat kun je toch niet zomaar zeggen, hè? And yeah, I really suck at the Belgian accent, by the way. Ik ben er echt zo slecht in. But that was a little bit of me trying to speak Flemish, and it's terrible, and I know it, and I'm really sorry if I offended anyone, but that's what I do. Alleen zeggen kan toch ook niet helpen. And that's basically what Milan sounds like. I might even do a few bonus rounds, Godverdomme klootzak, ekkel. By the way, don't translate those words to any Dutchman you see. They're gonna punch you in the face if you say any of those words. They're like jerk, bastard, god damn it. They're really curse words and swear things. Anyway, well, that's about all the questions I got, really, which is sad because I just want to talk. I'm really getting into this. If you have any questions on Milan, his time at the army, anything, just please ask me, because I can answer them in a video, and that's what I love to do. And yeah, I mean, just ask me. I mean, I don't bite, Milan doesn't bite, and we love getting questions. So this was Iris and Milan in a way, and we're logging off right now. So, bye guys.